guys, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I thought that we would go over some more of Shane Dawson's book, his second one, It Gets Worse. That's genuinely what the book is called, I'm not just saying that. But does it actually get worse? That's what we're here to find out. But before we get to that, I have to let you know that today's video sponsor is Wren. Wren is a website where you calculate your carbon footprint, then offset it by funding projects that plant trees and protect rainforests. It's a very easy way to start doing something about the climate crisis. By answering a few questions about your lifestyle, you'll find out your carbon footprint and then find ways to reduce it. Now, no one can reduce their carbon footprint to zero. We're not superhuman. So you can offset what you have left after reducing. Once you sign up to make a monthly donation to offset your carbon footprint, you'll get updates on the projects you are helping to fund. If you've chosen tree planting, you get to see where your trees are planted and what your money is being spent on. Understatement of the century maybe, but it's going to take a lot to help end the climate crisis. So you can help out by learning more on wren.co. And I've partnered with Wren to plant 10 extra trees for the first 100 people who sign up using my referral link. So find out more on wren.co, and thank you so much to Wren for sponsoring today's video. Oh, let's get on with it, shall we? I don't feel well today. I don't know if it's going to come across right, because I always say, oh, I'm in a bad mood, I don't feel very well, but I'm just such a maverick. I'm just so good at doing what I do that you can never tell. I don't feel well today. Not in that way. I've taken the test. Yeah, so not in that way. Just don't feel great. So I'm sure reading Shane Dawson's nonsense is going to make me feel so much better. Let's check it out. The 6th essay is called Word Vomit. It was a cold winter night in 2012 and I was standing outside on Hollywood Boulevard in my very unflattering underwear covered in my own vomit. I know what you're thinking. Wow, Shane, I didn't know you were such a party animal. I wasn't thinking that, thank you. I'm not. I'm the opposite of a party animal. I'm a funeral person. I'd much rather be surrounded by people crying while a dead person slowly decays in front of them than by a bunch of drunk people constantly asking me if I'm trans. I appreciate the compliment, but no. Shane has very big, I'm not like the other girls energy. We start in 2012, and then we go back to 2010 for reasons only Ymir knows. Shane has lost 150 pounds and he goes to a Mexican restaurant. Can't wait for the paragraphs of shitting to follow. I know Shane too well. More well than a person should be acquainted with Shane Dawson. Before we go any further, this first essay is about Shane's experience with an eating disorder, so viewer discretion is advised. Bath. As I tried to finish my sentence, I was interrupted by projectile puke so chunky and fast moving it looked like someone had hooked up a hose to a bucket of spaghetti sauce. I'm gagging as I write this, sorry. I'm just way too good at describing gross stuff. You should hear me describe poop. I'll give you a hint. I use lots of the same adjectives that would be used to describe a 7-layer cake. Thick. As I set free my 3 bowls of salsa, Kate jumped in front of me to catch it so it didn't go on my computer desk. That's the sign of a true friend. Well, that and someone who will watch a straight-to-DVD Hilary Duff movie with you without judgment. He vomits and the next day he weighs himself to find that he's lost 3 pounds. Anyways, the rush I got from losing that much weight in one night was intoxicating. I was already not in a great place when it came to my health. I'd lost so much weight so quickly by essentially starving myself. I hadn't eaten delicious food in a long time. I was bound to slip up and binge, so the only way to get rid of the guilt was to throw it up. Up until this point I hadn't forced myself to purge, but after that 3-pound weight loss I decided that it was something I should try. Then he goes on a binge purge. This is when I realised that bulimia wasn't just a disease for supermodels. It was a disease that didn't have a dress code. No matter what you look like or who you were, you could have it and get trapped in its ugly claws. And now here that I was there, it was frightening. After forcing myself to throw up, I wiped away the tears and drove home faster than I ever had before. I stopped at a dumpster and threw away the evidence, hoping I would never have to go through this again. I walked into my house and my mum asked me where I'd been. I lied to her. I hadn't lied to her in years. He promises not to do it again, but then he breaks his promise and he BPs at least 3 times a week from then on. We're back in 2012 and he's dating Lisa and he's hiding his eating disorder. In this essay, he speaks very frankly about it, which I do appreciate because eating disorders, this sounds really like, well, no shit, but eating disorders, they're not glamorous things at all. And sometimes they can be almost romanticized, or not even almost, sometimes they are romanticized, especially with in the media. But the reality of eating disorders is grim, like very grim. Like bulimia can wear down your teeth, your esophagus lining, mess up your stomach from the stomach acid. You can be at a greater risk of a heart attack. In fact, I think I read in a book by someone once that bulimia is more immediately dangerous because you can just be at risk of a seizure or a heart attack when you do it. And as for anorexia, when your weight's low enough, your hair will fall out, you'll be cold all the time, periods might stop if you're a woman, yeah, lots of things like that. So I think it is good that he's very frank about it, because, yeah, in a lot of ways it's an incredibly grim reality. He actually says in this that he'd stopped losing weight from bulimia years ago, but he was now addicted to the feeling of BPing. So he was still doing it even though he wasn't losing any weight. As she fell asleep, I slipped out and put on my shoes. I didn't even waste time putting on pants because I was going to be in my car anyways. As I walked to my car, I started to get that high feeling. I was thinking about all the food I was going to devour and how good it was going to feel as it went down. Of course, I wasn't thinking about how horrible it would feel coming back up, but that's because when you are in that state, your brain doesn't let you. That's why it's such a dangerous disease. This, for me, is fairly reminiscent of what drug taking is like. You think about how good the high is going to be and how nice it's going to feel, and you don't remind yourself of how bad the come down is. So for me, in a very abstract way, because it's similar but it's not the same thing, it is quite relatable what he's writing. So he purges and he spills it all down himself. Me, this is it. This is the last time. I'm never going to do this again, I promise. I know I've said this a million times before, but this time I mean it. I don't want to live like this. I don't want to have to lie to people I love and pretend like my ass is always leaking. Because he was pretending he was going to the bathroom all the time because he had stomach issues. I don't want to end up dead in a bathroom someday just because my heart gave out. I just want to be healthy. I want to be happy. Please, God, help me. After this incident, he sees a therapist and begins to recover. A word of advice to anyone who thinks someone in their life is struggling with an eating disorder: talk to them. Tell them not to be ashamed, that you are there for them. They might deny it, but it will open the door for them to come to you later when they're ready. Another word of advice: a Twinkie and a hot dog bun is not good. Holy God, I might puke again just thinking about it, but don't worry if I do. I won't describe it to you, I promise. And nowadays I keep my promises. So maybe I've consumed a lot of Shane Dawson content at this point, and not through the lens of being a fan. You know, we've often on this channel dissected him, his vlogumentaries, his books, his writing, sometimes even his Instagram posts. Yeah, we've gone in deep. So I feel like I'm really desensitized to him. Like, there's not a lot that shocks me anymore, you know, when he's trying hard. But I do think that this is the best essay he's done so far, and seeing as I've read several more of these afterwards, this is the best in the book. It's honest, it's grim. I don't think he glorifies having bulimia, and it has a positive message at the end of it. So well done, Shane. Genuinely. Not being insincere, I just sound insincere because I'm really tired today. Oh yeah, what kind of excuse is that? Am I tired every day then? Yes, actually. Don't worry though, that was the best essay. The rest of them are just bleh. So let's move on to actually making fun. 7. Essay 7. My Craigslist hookup. I can't wait to read this one. It was the middle of the night and I was standing on top of a shit-stained toilet, staring out at the broken... How many times do you reckon he mentions toilets in his essays? Someone should run a word scanner to see how many times the word toilet or shit pops up. Staring out the broken window of a dirty motel bathroom. As the wind blew through my hair, I could smell weed burning and definitely some kind of animal giving birth. It's really hot in here, so the door's open and you might hear miscellaneous noise. I heard a gunshot, then a scream, then a woman crying, then silence. Before I could process the murder I just witnessed, I was distracted by a beat-up car pulling into the parking lot with a bumper sticker that said, "Down to pound." My Prince Charming had arrived. I never expected my life to end up this way. Well, I did expect to be 26 years old, hovered over a motel toilet with someone else's turd floating in it, but I never expected to be waiting for a Craigslist hookup. Really paints a picture here, doesn't he? Does he ever report the murder? Who knows? Who cares? Shane doesn't, because he's about to get railed for the first time. Before I came out as bisexual, I had only ever been with women, and I was always too scared to try anything with a guy, even though I wanted to. I never went to college, so I kind of missed out on my experimentation days. Instead, I had chosen to cross-dress on the internet in front of my webcam for children, which now looking back, I guess is pretty experimental. That's aged fantastically, don't you think? Shane tries dating apps, but he gets recognised because he's 79 at this point, and then there's a whole convo he had with Tyler Oakley once about Grindr. Me, totally. One time I went to the grossest Chipotle and the guy serving me left an arm hair in my guacamole and I left such a mean review. And then I went back the next week because the only other Chipotle was like 20 minutes from my house. Tyler, yeah, it's totally like that, except not at all, and I think I'm gonna narf. Me, have you ever used it? Tyler, a lady never tells her secrets. Me, I wish someone would tell that to my mum. She recently told me that when she gave birth to me, she shit on my head. I'm desensitized to him, man. I'm starting to find him a bit funny. I gotta stop doing this content, clearly. Tyler, you make me sad. I can actually believe that that last sentence was spoken at some point to Shane. I've probably said it right. He downloads Grindr and he gives himself the name Taco Bell, like Belle. Constant exposure to Shane is kind of making me find him like a tiny bit funny, because you know when like you know when you're being ironic about something and then it starts to become a little unironic. I think that's what's happening. Same thing with Kevin James. Absolutely the same thing. Me a few months ago, I was like, what the, got Kevin, what, huh, how? And ever since I found out that Kevin James is somehow inexplicably he has a net worth of 100 million, I kind of gave up with thinking that this reality actually exists in some sort of logical sense. And now I'm just like really down for the ride, and I'm kind of finding him funny. Don't kill me. I don't know who I was saying don't kill me to. Kevin James, if he's watching this, please don't hurt me and make loud and weird noises as you do. However, he then says this: yeah, I was just asking to get raped. And I'm back to rolling my eyes. He chats to someone on the app as Taco Bell. Hi, I'm really scared and I've never done anything like this before because I'm in the closet. I'm not even sure if I'm gay or not. I actually think maybe I'm bi, but I'm not sure if that's real because I feel like maybe my Christian guilt is making me want to eat pussy. Like maybe I don't actually like it. Maybe God is making me like it. Know what I mean? Can you believe that the same guy who wrote this is now engaged? I would feel more sorry for him if he just wasn't such a mess, you know? So the dude he was talking to and said all that to is 75. I wish I could go back in time and just stop Shane from making so many decisions in his life. He talks to another dude who gets closer and closer to his location, so Shane freaks out because he wants his life to be more interesting than it actually is and imagines serial killers are after him, but it turns out the guy just lives upstairs. After his unsuccessful misadventures, Shane deletes Grindr and he uses Craigslist, which I don't know how to feel like this. Did people actually used to genuinely hook up on Craigslist? That's wild to me, because don't you buy sofas on there? Subject, no AIDS, looking for discreet with a first timer. Hey, my name is Greg. I'm a 6 foot nice guy. Anision, is that you? Who likes helping straight guys figure out if they're interested in men. It's like I'm giving back to the universe, but with my dick. If you are a straight guy and want to see what you've been missing, then hit me up for some animal style sex. Don't worry, I don't bite, unless you want me to. But I probably won't, because that's one of the way AIDS is spread. Yeah, I'm not proud for snorting at that evil, right? For some reason, I thought this ad was a winner, probably because I had already been through a night of getting caught by a friend and almost getting murdered by a guy whose body looked like it was a jar of old mayonnaise that started growing hair. Shane, you make me sad. He plans to meet up with this guy at the motel, not the mayonnaise man, the no AIDS man. Then I saw his car pull up. My heart started pounding so hard, my body was shaking. I was more nervous than I'd ever been in my life and I couldn't think straight. Get it? Sorry. As he got out of his car, I realised that he wasn't really my type, and I wasn't even sure what my type was. I just knew it wasn't a huge hairy dad with neck tattoos spelling out the names of his dead wives, most likely that he'd killed. I started to panic. Shane, this is very tragic, stop it. A huge hairy dad with neck tattoos spelling out the names of his dead wives. Why am I getting like a modern Henry VIII image right now? Shane pussies out the ordeal. He cries because he can't deal. And the man's like, don't worry, you'll figure it out, it'll be fine. Greg, good luck man, you're gonna be fine. Just look at how I turned out. Not a great example, but I was still appreciative. Shane, can you not be so catty? The man is literally just existing. A man you agreed to meet up with, to have sex with, and then you back down. Fair enough, you can do that. You can absolutely do that. And he turned around and was like, don't worry, you'll be okay. He tried to console you, and now you're just being rude. Essay 8. The white bus. There is nothing harder than having to move to a different school and start all over again. I know that you're trying to appeal to your child fan base, as we've established, but I could probably name a few things that are harder than having to move schools. It's one hot summer after 4th grade and Shane fills a trash can with water and sits there. It's just the imagery and the mental image of that. Sits in it amongst all the sludge and dead bugs to try to cool down. Because you know, I'm just imagining like present day Shane doing that. Like he's got his pool at his new house in wherever they live, Colorado or whatever, where he just fills up a trash can with water instead. My new elementary school was the Helen Keller Elementary. I completely understand why a school would want to be named after her. She was a true hero and deserves to be honoured. But is it really fair to the kids who go there? Every time someone would ask my mum what school I was transferring into, they would respond with a look of deep sympathy and concern. She had a conversation with her boss once that took a pretty dark turn. Mum's boss. What school did he go to? Mum. Helen Keller Elementary. Mum's boss. Oh, you poor thing. I can't imagine how hard it is to have a child with disabilities. Why is Shane and every single person he meets just so tasteless. And is it just me that finds it odd, a little bit odd, how Shane and Tana Mojo are always referencing Helen Keller? Maybe it's just because I'm British and I don't really have the cultural context, right? So I had to Google her at one point to find out who she was, but I feel like they joke around about her a lot. Is this a thing in America? I'm genuinely curious. Let me know. I'm trying to think of what an equivalent, what an English or British, Sean Connery. There's an equivalent. What equivalent would maybe Americans not have cultural context for? Horrible James Corden? You know, because he, like in America, he acts all nice in his talk show. He's got a late night show, right? But in England, I swear everyone hates him because he is the worst, just the worst trademark. He's just in America pretending to be nice to suck up to the American audience. Mum's boss. When was the last time we talked about giving you a raise? My mum paused and put on a fake sad face. Mum, you don't know pain until you've come home to see your fat, deaf, blind son floating in a trash can full of water because he thinks it's a swimming pool. Again, I'm just imagining present day Shane just sitting in a trash can full of water for a laugh, for a video. Ryland just like shaking his head, wondering, is it worth it? Mum's boss, you poor thing. Yeah, after that exchange, every time I saw that boss, I had to pretend to bump into walls. My mum bought me a Furby with her bonus check, so I guess it was worth it. I would love to know if any of this is actually true, but I guess I never will. So he's worried that someone's going to try and kidnap him. I don't know what this is in reference to. Then I remembered I wasn't really kidnapping material. Why would a child molester want a 200-pound 10-year-old who had more armpit hair than he did? So I guess I was pretty safe. New paragraph. It was like I'd walked into a 1950s commercial for the perfect elementary school. Then a ball flew at my face and all the kids screamed 10 points for the whale hit. Commercial over, reality checked. New paragraph. I had a huge fear of public speaking, and the last thing I wanted to do was have people hear what my voice sounded like. Sometimes I wished it really was a school for the deaf and blind because then I'd feel way more comfortable. Those are just some examples. I'm just so nonplussed by Shane's inner ramblings at this point. I read through it like, yeah, didn't get any sort of reaction out of me other than, oh, there he is, just trying to be a little bit edgy again, but okay. And then I immediately take it back. Saxa. Hi, my name is Saxa. Me, my name is Shane. You new here too? Saxa. Yeah, what are you eating? Why does everyone say yeah? Yeah. What are you eating? It smells good. Me, you think so? Most people think it smells like a prostitute's nail bed. Saxa. Well, my family usually cooks up a bowl of fish heads and blends them into a smoothie, so I'm not the best judge of smell. Me, you drink that? Saxa. No, I usually drink chocolate milk. My grandma's a fan of things that smell like the dump. Me, my grandma's a fan of taking dumps that look like chocolate milk, so I guess we have a lot in common. All I wrote here was extremely wicked, shockingly evil and vile. Shane sees a white bus and just gets on it because he thinks there's going to be candy on it. And then it turns out to be some sort of Jesus mobile, but they do give the children chocolate and candy if they answer questions correctly about the Bible. So he goes again the next day for more. And then they get given this task, make someone smile and you'll get extra candy. So he draws a picture for his mum, but it just makes her upset, and then his brother punches him in the dick for fun. This book is the literary equivalent of being punched in the dick for fun. Well, no one's having fun except Shane. Then one day, the Christians on the white bus teach Shane that homosexuality is big bad. This makes Shane uncomfortable, but then they say the next day is Nacho Day, so he gets over those feelings really, really quickly. He brings his friend Saxa, who is Buddhist, and the Christian men make fun of her. Right, these are like 10-year-olds as well. And so Shane has a rant that he definitely did not say as a 10-year-old. Me. You know what? The only reason I started coming to this stupid bus was because you guys were passing out treats and had surprisingly comfortable seating for a bus, but I'm done. You know what I learned today? Neck hair guy 1. That God works in mysterious ways? Me. No, I learned that I know a lot more about God than you do. God doesn't judge. God doesn't make people feel bad for what they believe in. God doesn't care if you're gay or not. God is love. That's all he is. I need a lighter. And I know God made all of us in his image, but he must have fucked up with you guys because you are the farthest thing from God I have ever seen. And then everyone clapped. The end. Essay number 9 is called Welcome to Mexico. From the title alone, I couldn't wait for him to be insensitive as fuck, but I don't actually think he was, which... Shane, don't hold out on me. You're disappointing me. Are you more sanitised? More pea-sish? What's going on, Shane? Come on. Travelling has never been a passion. There's nothing intriguing to me about packing up all my crap and sitting in a hot, sweaty death trap for 5 hours while hundreds of people fart simultaneously into sticky pleather seats. I don't need to pay $500 for a plane ticket to sit in a room full of farts. I can just do that at home for the low cost of one Chipotle bowl. Why? Why did you write these things? Lisa, Shane's girlfriend at the time, wants to go to Europe, but Shane does not. Me. I don't know, can't we just find something cool to do around here? Lisa, like what? The only thing close to us is the beach and you refuse to go there. Me, it's not my fault. The sand freaks me out. Why is there so much of it? And how long has it been there? Like a million years? You know how gross that is? Don't kill me for saying this, right? Don't hunt me down, don't get the pitchforks out. But for once, Shane Dawson has a point and I can appreciate. He has a, what, why, It's like when you think about wind, right? You think about, what the fuck is, where's it come from? Where's it go? I mean, it's just gases moving through space. But where's it come from? Where's it going? Like, where's it moving to? What's the point? Why is it a thing? This reality is a nightmare. It's a nightmare escape. So a year passes and Shane accidentally ends up driving into Mexico somehow after being distracted by a conversation about the Blue's Clues guy, because Shane Dawson thinks there's a conspiracy and the Blue's Clues guy killed himself and it was a cover-up and that's why they got a new person in. But we can tell you in the year 2021 that is false, because the Blue's Clues guy came and said stuff a few weeks ago to people. Regardless, don't let this distract you from the fact that how the fuck do you manage to like drive into Mexico accidentally and not realise what you're doing? Shane thinks there might be traces of marijuana in his backseat and they don't have their passports because they get to the border, but the gatekeeper at the border just lets them through anyway. Me, do you see how much I was crying? Lisa, yeah, that was the most unattractive you've ever been to me. I'd rather fuck my own brother than fuck you right now. These two seem like such a match. Match made in hell. So once through the border, they then decide to go back out the border immediately, but the queue is really, really long, like 3 days worth, and they don't have any money or passports. But I don't understand how they're in this situation in the first place. Like, how is it that easy to accidentally end up in Mexico? Surely you would have seen several signs. So the cop line through the border is empty. So they decide to go through there instead, because what's the worst that could happen? Cop, can I see some passports and ID? Me. So the thing is, we actually got lost on the freeway, then we ended up in Mexico, so we don't have passports. Cop, you ended up in Mexico. Me. Yeah, funny, huh? The cop tells them to pull over, so they both stop panicking. And then they see the cop taser someone and lock up a couple in a cage. But the cop lets them go with just a warning. And that's the entire story of the time they went to Mexico together. I'm not being funny, Shane, but that was very boring. What you did there was very boring, so thanks for nothing. It was a boring story. Nothing happened. Stakes weren't high at all. If the cop had seen Shane Dawson in a trash can full of water, I'm sure they wouldn't have allowed him back in to America. Essay number 10 and the final one is called Too Many Melons, the Story of Lauren Schnipper. I can't begin to express my love for shitty reality TV. Finally, Shane Dawson, something that we can connect over. I'm finally getting my money's worth out of this book. Shane's DVR list. 8 p.m, The Woman with Two Vaginas. 8:30, The Boy Who Shits Out of His Neck. 9 p.m, Tumor or Twin. 9:30, They Found What Inside Me? They found what inside me, sorry. His agent rings him, Shane Dawson, to say he's been offered a position on a reality show. When did Shane Dawson have an agent? I'm very sure he covered this in the first book, like having an agent, or why Shane Dawson get, why don't I have one? Why does Shane Dawson of all people get an agent? And why, when I try and email people, I probably get blocked and reported straight away? I'm not entitled, it's just life is really unfair sometimes. Why do good things happen to Shane Dawson? Agent. This is a show about the making of your first movie. You'll get to direct a film and they will document the process. It's called The Chair. And this is the one where he's a horrible diva, and when he went through all that drama last year, there was an influx of content surrounding this. You've probably seen it everywhere. He has a producing partner called Lauren, and I guess this essay is about her because he just starts blathering on about her. Though we worked well together, we also had a lot of disagreements, but we always came out stronger afterwards. Our fights were usually about things I'd force her to do that she felt were inappropriate. Lauren, no, me, please, it's such a funny joke, the video's gonna be so good. Lauren, Shane, I can't ask a mother to let her 5-year-old snort pixie sticks dust and pretend it's cocaine. That would probably really hurt. You could do the same effect by having like them actually suck up the pixie dust, like using the straw in their mouth so they get to eat it, but just angle their head so it still look. I'm gonna stop now. Definitely didn't do that for B-Tech Media once. Me, come on, don't be a pussy. Lauren, fine, but if it ruins some girl's life and makes her a drug addict when she grows up, I'm blaming you. Me, if she watches my videos, her life is already fucked. Lauren, true. None of this has aged well. Remember, this was back in the time period where if you were a little kid watching Shane Dawson, he would ask on Stick'em for you to send in pictures of you in suggestive poses and pictures of your feet and that kind of thing, so. Or when he and his mum got that girl to twerk on a Anyway, Lauren, do you really want to do a reality show? What if you look bad? Me, what do you mean? Lauren, I know you think your jokes are funny, but they sometimes come off as mean, and what if they edit you to look like an asshole? Me, you think my jokes are mean? Lauren is a psychic, just 10 years too late. After Lauren and I agreed to be part of the show, it was time to move our lives to Pittsburgh for 3 months to work on our first full-length film, Not Cool. So, we have Lauren to also blame for the not cool monstrosity. Good to know. After the fight, Lauren and I made up and went out to eat. That was our usual pattern. We would scream and yell, she would cry, I would tell her she's not my mother, then we would go out to an Italian restaurant and order free bread baskets. Our fights were always long because we were both so stubborn. Sometimes we wouldn't even come to a conclusion. We would just get tired and super hungry, give up and get pizza. It was our routine. I did write at this point, is Lauren the one Shane is a dick to and all the behind the scenes stuff on the chair? I could look this up, but I don't want to. I did, in fact, look it up. I found the video. I will link it up here, somewhere in the little cards. Lauren is indeed the one that he just, like his best mate who he just buddies all the time. The next 2 months of filming the movie were a blur. Then it was over. We had shot our first film and it was amazing. I'd made so many awesome friends, had you? What, like Drew, Monsoon and the rest? Is it Monsoon or Monsoon? I'm sorry. I had so many first experiences. First time directing a movie, first time in a starring. He is loving it. He's sucking his own dick so hard. I can hear him through the text right now. He just stopped in the middle of this comma. Sorry. First time living away from home. First time having a homeless person ask me if I was Jodie Foster. Winter coats can make me look very established. And last but not least, first time receiving confirmation that this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I knew after that experience I wanted to make movies forever and I wanted to make them with Lauren. Unfortunately, the feeling wasn't mutual. First, current Shane Dawson. What happened to making movies? Yeah, he made a few. Vlogumentaries, like glorified vlogs really don't count as movies. So, I'm such a bitch. But I don't want to make movies. I don't want to do anything in my life. Secondly, Trouble in Paradise with Lauren. So the video that I found, it's called Shane Dawson being a jerk during the production of Not Cool. He's so insufferable, so delusional, so like aggy. Go watch it. I'll link it up here. One particular episode that was really hard to stomach was one in which Lauren and I got into a fight we didn't realise was being filmed. It was a fight I'd forgotten about, a fight that wasn't unusual or out the ordinary for us to have, but watching it made me sick. The fight started because Lauren was rushing... Oh, boo-hoo, oh, it made me sick. Meh, I'm sure it felt worse for her. The fight started because Lauren was rushing me through something because we were running out of time. Instead of understanding that she was just trying to help me accomplish everything I wanted to in the time allotted, I snapped at her and it turned into World War III. Granted, she wasn't innocent either. There were probably... Well, you started it with saying the fight started because Lauren was rushing me. So you're making her look like the worst one here, I think. Just in the order of events. Granted, she wasn't innocent either. There were probably much better ways for her to tell me to hurry up. Watch his behaviour on it. I'd have told him to fuck off ages ago. But we were both in a high-stress environment. On the drive back to our apartment building in Pittsburgh, she cried, while she explained to me how much it hurt that I'd yelled at her in front of everyone. I felt like complete shit at the time, but it wasn't until I watched it unfold on the TV that I didn't just feel like shit. I felt like shit and throw up. Boo-hoo, pity party for Shane, where? Shane Dawson, he just can't be nice to his friends, where? It's such a hard no, I'm such a bitch. That's okay though, I'm allowed to be because I don't have any friends, so it's fine. Lauren gets a job offer with a company and takes it because she's worn out from just all the drama and fighting with Shane. And bearing in mind, when did Not Cool come out? She's been working with Shane for years at this point. Not Cool came out in 2014, so it came out 7 years ago, nearly 8 years ago. And there was just so much drama and bitchiness and fighting with Shane then. So, him being uncovered as this like dramatic drama king type person in the past few years, it's not a... I don't know, it's just not a new thing if you were to read through these and get all the context, right? Being on a reality show changed my life in more ways than I could ever imagined. Not only did I finally see what I looked like from behind, not good, I saw how I treated people I was closest to when I was stressed, and it was something I wanted to change. I never tried to be mean, but when I'm in work mode, I have a habit of letting blah blah blah. Liar, never try to be mean. He's been mean plenty of times online. We see it, you know. To this day, we are still friends, and who knows, maybe we will work together again at some point. Doesn't look likely, does it? And I do wonder, I wonder if they are still friends now. It's none of my business, of course, I'm just being really, really nosy. But I wonder if Lauren saw all the people vindicate her when they called out his shitty behaviour on the chair, when that influx of videos happened last year. I wonder if she saw that. I wonder if that made her feel, I don't know, a little validated. It made me feel validated, even if it was 7 years after the fact. Interesting questions that I have that we will just never know the answer to, and that is all for today's video. That's all for this. My voice feels like it's gonna give out, like I'm a boy experiencing puberty. But that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, do remember to like, comment, subscribe. I make new videos whenever I feel like it. Follow me on Instagram. Thank you, Ren, for sponsoring today's video. Ren.co. Go check it out. Help out. Carbon footprints. All of that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.